Done by Mr. Kanio Thomas. Mr. Kanio Thomas, are you here? Can we do that again? We have Mr. Kanio Thomas in the hall. If not, we can move ahead. We now take our welcome remarks, and that will be done by the Deputy Head of Secretariat, the Centrism Movement, Dr. Cllr.
Welcome remarks. Head of Secretariat, Liberia, political centrism movement. Distinguished chairperson of the Liberia political centrism movement, esteemed executives of the movement, the diaspora network, honorable government officials, valued civil society actors, the government, the people of the Republic of Liberia present, far and media. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to this historic gathering of the Liberian political centrism movement, the LPC and for short. Today, we come together with a shared vision of unity, progress, and balanced path forward for our beloved nation. We thank our chairperson for his steadfast leadership, our dedicated executives, district heads for their tireless work, and our honored guests, government officials, civil society leaders, and all citizens near and far for your presence and commitment to shaping a brighter future for Liberia. Together, let us embrace dialogue, foster inclusive policies, and build a Liberia where every voice matters. Thank you for being here. Let this day mark the beginning of a new chapter of hope and opportunity. Welcome, and may our deliberations be faithful. Thank you very much.
Let this day mark the beginning of a new chapter. That's the voice of Dr. William Colley. So I'd like us to do something here. When I say centrism, you say movement of inclusion. That will be our slogan for today. Centrism, movement of inclusion. Centrism, movement of inclusion. That means it doesn't matter the political party you affiliate with, as long as you are a Liberian and a well-meaning Liberian for that matter, you are part of this movement. On this note, we take the overview of the launching program, and we will call on Engineer Delano Bryant. Please put your hands together for him.
Centrism. 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 Thank you. And I will stay on existing protocol, and I'd like to tell all of you thank you for coming. We all know we are here for a very important occasion. We are so overwhelmed from the executive committee members. When we started this negotiation behind the scene with the vision bearer, talking about how constructive can we come together as Liberians to make Liberia a better place for all of us. Men of like minds, we started thinking, who can we bring on board? We find ourselves in a country that is so wealthy, but the other way, many of us are so challenged. And at some point, every day we wake up, we are getting so used to criticizing negatively. And I have one person who believes in, if Liberia gets better, the life of Liberians will get better. If the life of Liberia get better, Liberia will get better. So from our own movement, we believe that it doesn't matter who is president for Liberia. It doesn't matter who is the leader for Liberia. But matter most Liberia should succeed. If Liberia is to succeed, then that president should succeed. And at some point, we all have to come together to support an initiative to make Liberia succeed. So today, for the backdrop, this is where we're coming from. The Liberia political centrism movement is about making a better Liberia for all of us. And when we plan to have this lunch, it was very important. We started having a negotiation from every district in and out of Liberia. There was the diaspora. And we said, oh, this is about time that we showcase what we have. You know, I see vision leaders in here. Young people ranging from 18 to 45, 50. You know, Liberia is saying 40 is in young people. We see good people here. Today, the lunch is about our dream for Liberia. All of our dream for Liberia. And I want all of us to please stand. We just give ourselves a big hand. Can you please stand? Stand, brother. Centrism. So the lunch is all about showcasing ourselves as a vice chair for, I was a vice chair, right? As a chair for mobilization, recruitment. You know, we're working in the chairman said, your work has started. We have to move from town to town, to village to make this work for all of us. We want to say thank you all of you for coming, and we'll thank you for having a successful walk, and we'll conclude with another successful walk. Thank you, have a seat. God bless you.
We are about to move from town to town, village to village to make this happen. I want to reiterate that Engineer Delano Bryant is the chair for mobilization and recruitment, and is part of the steering committee of the movement. Thank you, sir, for a powerful statement. On this note, we take our spoken word performance, and that will be done by Miss Marietta Smith. Do we have Miss Marietta here? I guess I see someone coming. It says Miss Marietta. Okay, I guess she's on her way. While we wait for her, we move to the next item on our agenda. And that has to do with special remarks. Invited guests. We take special remarks from our invited guests. And while we wait for this special remarks, we want to ask all of those who were invited to be panelists, please take a front seat here on my right. Please take a front seat on my right if you are here as a panelist. Special remarks by our invited guests. While we wait for that special remark, Councillor P, can you kindly take the front? Okay, thank you. So while we wait for the special remarks, we take solo performance. So we just open this up. Can someone just sing for us? Just one beautiful selection. Come out here with a beautiful game. Okay. chair is really
You know, God gave her a voice. But I would like to call on a very good voice. This voice is one of the best in Liberia. It's a voice that when you take the stage, the Spirit of God can walk, you can feel. Let's give him big answer for our prayer. They can be smart. No, God gave you the gift, don't hide it. Please. Clap for them. So one of our parents, a good voice.
Okay. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you alone. You are worthy to be praised. We all know that song, right? You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you alone. You are worthy to be praised. So let's join me and sing. We give you all, we give you all the glory. We worship you alone. You are worthy to be praised. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful selection. You truly have a gift. So we go back to our special remarks. We will take Mr. Cllr Bai Gbala from district number 8. Cllr will do for us.
Okay, thank you ever so much. If you are here from District 8, can you please stand? If you are from District 8, stand and just clap for yourself for being here today. Okay, thank you ever so much. And we stay here today and we say thank you to Kanio Bai Gbala and every one of you who have attended this program. This young man has seen another version of our country and want to push forward that this version becomes a reality. And the people of District number 8 stands with you. We're going to make sure we work along with you in achieving this. Again, I say thank you.
We can take one more remark for anyone from a district, representing a district here. Okay, please come.
Thank you. Centrism. So, well, I am Alinton Cllr Harris, and I'm privileged to be the Deputy Youth Director of the Liberia Political Centrism Movement. On behalf of the youth angle of the Liberia Political Centrism Movement, we want to say thank you so much for your turnout. And also, we want to acknowledge all the people here today. The days of you of people referring or saying to you, your future is ahead, that day is over. Now we have come to tell you that your future is now, but how be it, you have to be acknowledged about what comes ahead. we as Centrism, we are saying to you, now the argument should be Liberia first. In everything you do, put Liberia first. As the program unfolds, we want to say thank you so much for the turnout. As we go forward, we look forward to having a networking session with you in order to extend our reach. And also, those that are from the youth angle that want to sign up, we'll be right back there taking names and contact them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that last statement is very important. After the program, those of you who want to sign up to be a member of the movement, just meet him at the back. He will take your name and your contacts. We want to encourage all of you to kindly share the live. Go on the page on Facebook and just share the live on your different pages. As you share the live, just hashtag Centrism Movement of Inclusion so that we can go viral. Please do that now. If you are proud of the movement, just share the live on your page, on your pages, and hashtag Centrism Movement of Inclusion. We'll go back to our spoken word. We have Marietta here. Marietta, are you here? Okay, I see you coming. Please put your names together for Marietta as she comes up to do our spoken word.
Good afternoon, all. I wrote this only spoken word title, The Way to Kill. We wake every morning to the home of this nation, and yet I feel the weight of it. The weight of banners waving higher than our hearts, the weight of promises capped in the air but never on the ground. Stuck some days on eating on others, and louder than the days when division walks through our streets like it owns the place. Some say loyalty is to the party, but what happens when that loyalty fractures families, when it whispers suspicion into communities, when it tilts the moral compass of a child who watches the news and wonders if honesty still has to come here? And sometimes I ask myself, when did we forget each other? When the party colors become brighter than the colors of our flag, when the ambition drove out the sound of our conscience, when we start choosing sides instead of choosing Liberia. I believe in a different kind of loyalty. To the soul beneath our feet, to the waivers that run like our ancestors curled to the streets where neighbors greet one another with no suspicion but with recognition that this land is ours before anything else, and we cannot serve her if we serve only ourselves. I've seen the way it tears us. I've seen families split across dinner tables, the thick with tension where a simple conversation becomes a battlefield, where a mother prays her children won't inherit the anger of their fathers carried like a halo. I've seen friendships dissolving because politics sat between them like a wall made of whispers and the moral compass of a nation, the one our elders guided with pride, shakes like a needle trapped between two magnets, fighting, trembling, confused about where the truth is. See, we have leaders. We have leaders who speak of power, who bow to ambition like it is sacred, but power without principle is a knife without a handle. It cuts the nation, it cuts trust, it cuts hope. See, what we need is leadership that bends low to lift others, that measures strength not in books or titles, but in the courage to do what is right, even when no one is watching. But deep down, we know the truth. We know that a nation stands before the party as it should. And what is power if it isn't guided by principle? See, power without principle is a storm with no mercy, a fire with no direction, a mouth that speaks loudly but says nothing. It blinds leaders, stains communities, and burns breaches that took generations and generations to build. But principle is a lantern we carry through the dark seasons. It is the voice that says, hold on. Even when the world is shouting otherwise, it is the courage to choose truth over applause, duty over ego, service before self, and yes, service, yes, true service is not a handshake in public and a closed door in private. It is not a promise. It is not a promise. See, true service is not a promise. Service is sacrifice. It is the leader who listens, the youth who steps up, the citizen who chooses country over comfort. Service is quiet work that keeps a nation breathing, and oh, how easily we forget that warriors can build breaches where walls are rising. See, dialogue is patient, the conversation that refuses to let anger be final voice. Now, dialogue is the courage to say the cross from the very person who opinions and loves you and say, "Talk, I am listening." Because without dialogue, patience, tension becomes tradition, division becomes culture, and silence becomes a slow death of a nation. We need leadership with moral spine, leadership that doesn't bend to greed, leadership that doesn't trade integrity for convenience, leadership that knows the weight of power and doesn't misuse it. Because when leaders lose their ethics, the people lose their trust. And when trust dies, nations don't break suddenly. They crumble quietly. So imagine a Liberia that remembers itself. A nation where dialogue isn't an emergency measure, but a daily practice where power bows to principle, where service outweighs itself, where ethics in decoration but a foundation. See, the weight we carry is heavy, but it is not impossible. Because a nation that chooses principle over power, service over self, dialogue over division is a nation that remembers how to breathe together. And the question echoing through the time will be simple. Did we carry the nation, or did we let the nation carry our differences? Thank you.
You can do better than that. One of the things I remember her saying is, what is power without centrism? Thank you so much, Marietta, for that powerful spoken word. Does everyone have water? Okay. Everyone have water. Thank you so much. We now move to the next item on our agenda. We call on Ms. Linda Flower, Deputy Director of Programs, to introduce our founder and chairperson. Please put your hands together while you welcome.
Centrism. Okay, I guess you people were not ready. We'll go again. Centrism. Indeed, it's a movement of evolution. A brief bio of Cllr Kanio Bai Gbala, founder and chairperson of the Liberia Political Centrism movement. Cllr Kanio Bai Gbala is a senior Liberian lawyer, governance and development professional, and certified Prince 2 Agile project manager with over 15 years of experience leading rule of law and governance programs across later countries in West Africa. He currently serves as Assistant Professor of Law at the Louis Addo School of Law, University of Liberia, where he lectures in contract law, public international law, and international business transactions. Cllr Gbala previously served as Vice Chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, Country Coordinator of the UN Frontiers at UNDP, and Natural Resource Specialist with DAI, Organizational Development Advisor at Interlinks and Program Specialist at Trust Africa, a Pan-African funder based in Dakar, Senegal. He has consulted widely for various international organizations and founded and leads the Center for Law Research and Development, a boutique rule of law firm that specializes in governance interventions. In 2023 presidential elections in Liberia, he was the national campaign spokesperson of the Coalition for Democratic Change during the Liberian presidential elections. A Chieftain Fellow at the University of Bradford, where he obtained specialist training in security sector reform, Cllr Kanio also holds an LLB from the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, an LLM in democratic governance and rule of law from the Ohio Lofton University, and several professional distinctions to include being selected as a 2021 French Africa Foundation Youth Leader. Cllr Kanio prides himself as a firm believer in the American style of democracy and identifies as an Americophile, that is one who closely studies and prizes American culture and way of life. He is married with 5 children. Fellow centrists, invited guests.
When you get your so this is one of the times where I decide to go on the record while speaking publicly, because I believe that this is a momentous occasion. Ordinarily, I will attempt to speak extemporaneously, which in other words means without a prepared text, and basically speak what comes to mind. But for the purposes of today, I've elected to gather my thoughts and put them on paper, so that when we get to a point where we reflect on the beginning of this very important movement, there will be adequate records to show what we were beginning to project at that point in time. And so therefore I've elected to put it on the record. In addition to those opening comments, I also like to thank all of you that have come here today. I've always said to those who will listen that normally when history is being made, you don't hear thunder crackling in the air, there are no earthquakes on the ground, but it just takes diligence and consistency in order to engender change and to bring about goals that can move our country forward. And therefore, we thank you. And so I revert to my script, which I've titled as the founder's speech by myself, Kanio Bai Gbala, on this date, November 22nd, 2025. And it reads as such. My fellow centrists, my fellow Liberians, my brothers and sisters, today is a beautiful day, a hopeful day, a day that reminds us that Liberia still has the power to rise, to heal, and to choose a better way. I thank every one of you for marching, for standing, and for believing that this country can move forward when we walk toward the middle together. When I look at all of you, I am reminded of something President John F. Kennedy once said, and I quote, "Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but rather let us seek the right answer." This is the heartbeat of centrism. We are not here to fight for sides. We are here to fight for solutions. My journey to this moment was not planned. The centrism movement, the country became tense and divided. Friends became enemies. Families disagreed sharply about the direction of the country. People who once engaged with each other began to look at each other with suspicion. And in these moments of division, something in me broke, and I asked myself, must Liberia always walk on the edge? Must our politics always tear us apart? And the resounding answer I gave to myself at that point was no. And so I began to imagine a movement that encourages balance instead of bitterness. A movement that replaces anger with reason, shouting with listening, and partisanship with patriotism. Slowly that dream, with the help of all of those who are seated on this platform and all of you who have come to grace this occasion today, has become a reality. But to understand the importance of centrism, we must also remember where we come from. More than 250,000 Liberians died in our civil war. For those of you who are old enough to remember that. Our homes were burned, our economy collapsed, our families were scattered. And the question we must ask ourselves is, what caused the suffering? It was not one tribe, not one county, not one party. It was national vices that grew unchecked. Greed, exclusion, corruption, hatred, abuse of power, a winner-take-all politics. A nation that feeds these vices walks toward destruction. Centrism is the antidote. Centrism teaches us that the survival of our country depends on balance. Not everything is left and not everything is right. Not everything is for one group and not everything is for one party. As Barack Obama once said, we are not divided as our politics suggests. Centrism reminds us that Liberia is bigger than our disagreements. And Liberia's progress requires all parties, all tribes, all counties, all citizens working together. When we gather today at this launch, we are saying something powerful to the world. Liberia refuses to return to the past. Liberia chooses peace. Liberia chooses unity. Liberia chooses the center. My friends, centrism is not weakness. It is courage. The courage to stand between two angry sides and say, there is a better way. The courage to insist on truth when lies are loud. The courage to find solutions when others prefer arguments. President Dwight Eisenhower, a man who knew the cost of war, once said, the middle of the road is all of the usable surface. The extremes are the gutters. And that statement encapsulates centrism. Liberia belongs on the usable surface, not in the gutters of political extremism. Today, as we celebrate this launch, I want to salute our Executive Steering Committee, our Secretariat, our county and district leaders, our diaspora network, and every patriot who stood with us when this dream was still fragile. You gave your time, you gave your ideas, you gave your hope, and together we have built a national movement. To the young people here, we say, you are the heartbeat of this movement. Liberia cannot rise without you. You deserve a country where ideas matter more than insults, where talent matters more than tribalism, and your future is not controlled by old divisions. To the mothers here, we say your prayers have protected this nation more times than we know. May this movement also honor your sacrifices. To every Liberian who still believes in unity, we say this movement is yours, and you are the reason why we stand here today. As founder and chairperson of this movement, I make you a simple promise that I will walk with you, listen to you, build with you, and together we will reclaim the center as a place of wisdom and strength. As we march forward, let us carry the words of President Abraham Lincoln in our hearts. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Liberia must stand. Liberia will stand. Liberia will rise. Today may seem simple. As I conclude, today may seem like a small step, but it is a new chapter. Today is the rebirth of national balance. Today is the beginning of a Liberia where we meet in the middle and rise as one people. May God bless you. May God bless Centrism. And may God bless the Republic of Liberia.
Liberia will stand, Liberia will rise, Liberia will move forward. We want to take this time to extend our thanks and appreciation to our leader and chairperson for this movement. That was a powerful speech. Centrism. If you are just coming, we want to take this time to wholeheartedly welcome you. We have reached another important aspect of this program. We take our panelists, we ask our platform, the Secretary to kindly retire while the panelists take the program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, special invited guests, all political observers. At about this time, we will have a panel discussion on the role of building an inclusive society void of destructive politics. And we have in here today diverse panelists who have come to expound on how we can build an inclusive society void of destructive politics. As a movement, a political centrism movement, we believe in inclusivity, responsibility of all citizens, no matter on which side of the divide you think you are. That is, if you are for party A or party B, party C. When it comes to the movement, we become one. And it means we all assume responsibility in building our country the way we see or we feel the need that it should be. So as a citizen of this country, you have a responsibility. So I would like to quickly introduce to you our panelists for today's discussions on the topic building an inclusive society void of destructive politics. We have Mr. Robert Pine he's a senior official at the Liberia Revenue Authority, dedicated to strengthening public finance and revenue generation. We have Madam Margaret Glanson, Chair for Communications and Membership of the Executive Cllr Committee of the Centrism Movement and a key architect to our messages of unity. We also have Mr. Harold Adu, Executive Director of Integrity Watch. He's a leading voice for transparency and accountability in Liberia. We also have Madam Vivian Akoto, Commissioner of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, a champion for integrity and good governance. Ladies and gentlemen, these are individuals committed to shaping Liberia where politics is constructive and not destructive. Let's begin our conversation with just an understanding of what inclusivity is. I can put it across to any of you or a specific person. Okay, so Madam Akoto, I would like you to shed light on what it means to have an inclusive society.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the team for having me as well. Quick correction, I'm not a commissioner at the LCC. If I be held in consent, I'm the Chief of Staff to the Executive Chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. So back to the topic, as we're talking about inclusion, I basically will narrow it down to inclusion in our everyday life as a citizen of Liberia. And my contribution today to this panel will be limited to young people, you know, and I guess my other panelists will talk holistically. But to be able to promote inclusion in our everyday life, I would say the first thing to do is to treat people fairly, regardless of your tribe, your gender, your county, your religion, or even your political affiliation. And for me, inclusion is to create space where everyone feels valued and heard. Inclusion starts with how we interact and not with government policies alone. So I'll just stop here.
Thank you, Madam Akoto. We move on to Mr. Adu.
So let me say thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. I think one of inclusion. First, let me say congratulations to my dear friend and brother Kanio, because I accepted this invitation for two reasons. One, because I believe in him and I believe in what he's pursuing, and I believe that one of the fundamental challenges we face as a country is because of politics of divisiveness. That even when we see what is right, because of our political dogma, we tend to Okay, I think I can just proceed. I can just proceed on the issue about inclusion, and I think when we talk about inclusion, I would even want to step it from. I would like to, step a little bit further by even talking about inclusion and diversity. And given the fact that we have, if I'm just taking a good glance at this room, about 90% of the people in this room are young people. I would like to draw more about youth participation. Since we're also talking about centrism, I would like to draw my whole conversation around inclusion, around young people political participation. I think for many years we have tried to address the issue about exclusion and making sure that we can create a space, an enabling space where young people can participate in political processes. And I think in as much as we have made quite sources in terms of making sure that we've created different systems and structures, we've seen increased young people role in different leadership positions and so forth. But I think it's not enough. As a country, we have done well in terms of creating the space for young people to participate. But I think the challenge lies in at what level are their voices heard, right? And I think that is where we need to work on. We also need to work on inclusion. So therefore, when we talk about inclusion, it's about how do we create an enabling space where, irrespective of, as my sister rightly said, irrespective of your political affiliation, irrespective of your ethnic, your religious background, right? We've created a society where, by and large, there is so much divisiveness within our body politics in our society in general. And I think we need to be able to work on that. And again, judging from the fact that we have a history of many years of conflict, where we still have not addressed many of the underlying factors that led to the many years of conflict, we need to work on some of the antecedents of the conflict, and by making sure that we not only create a space, but we also address the issue about young people political participation and decision-making processes at all levels, either at the community level where local decisions are taken, either on land. And when we talk about young people, sometimes we say men. I would like to look at young women, right? Also, because when we talk about youth, it's not just about young men, but it's also about young women. We have a society where women access to many opportunities, including land, including resources, is quite skewed. So inclusion means that we need to create a political system where the voices of young men and women, marginalized people, persons living with disability, and from different demographic backgrounds are heard. And we need to also create a democratic system where we are also able to create wealth. Many of our young people have been relegated into just praise singers. In many societies, young people are driving the economy, are driving technology, many other fields. I think it's about time, and that is one of the reasons why I chose to come here and to share my thoughts about centrism, which I think is one of the best selling in our body policy. So inclusion is everything, diversity is everything. These are the things we need to work on to make sure we have a prosperous and inclusive society. Thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me as one of your panelists. When I hear about inclusion, I tend to define it as the involvement of everyone. And you will look around and say, but it's impossible to have everyone on board for a specific thing. But most of the time we look at the ratio of things of how after the pool, the second season, where
other parties who did not win or other people who were not involved in politics because of the way how we treat politics around. We often say, no, that it's a dirty game, and there are people who, in their private lives that do not want to get involved. So when we say inclusion, we're looking at everyone being involved and knowing that this country is for everyone. Oftentimes there are people who have what it takes, but they're still away because, I'm unable to get this thing done, I'm unable to be backlashed and all that. We see how social media is and how we go back to back, neck to neck, and if it calls for an institution to lose its credibility just because of how we treat politics. So when I see or hear inclusiveness, I'm seeing how this country is for all of us need to get on board. How can we leave from? We had, political season, and we had people who fought for us to get in power, but then they are not competent. So how can we give this position to someone who is out there who has what it is? Because if we continue to look at, party level and all the Husseins and the Amandas and people who are in the vineyards and all that, we will not have a country that should move forward. We are still stuck on one spot of how we see politics. And I'm very proud and happy for this movement, so be birthed, because it is another way and a better way of balance of how we see politics and treat politics. I know we'll get there of, the team of, while we here and all that. How can we have inclusiveness for the politics, and it's impossible. So have, your lives in different areas without politics. But we are looking at it from the inclusiveness portion. And I like how you've dissected just that, term for us to understand what inclusiveness means. That when we leave from here today, we will know that we live with just one thing, and it's inclusiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me first say thanks to Councillor Kanio Bai Gbala and his team, and all of you present to create this very important occasion. You may want to disagree with the founder. You may dislike the founder of this movement, but you cannot disagree with the idea that Liberia has come a long way. Our political culture having premised on the idea where winner takes all. And when a political party gets in power, and all the appointments and all the positions are given to that single political party. And so, injecting an idea where we have centrism, where people may think beyond political limits, beyond political boundaries, and the utmost thing you must consider is the interest of the country. On the issue of political inclusiveness, a lot of young people, experienced, qualified young people, but because we have a country, or because we have a movement, we have an idea where if you are not part of a political movement, you are excluded. That is wrong. How do we build professionals? How do we build professionals? When one government comes to power, when we exclude all the professionals, that is wrong. We must open up this country and we must include every talented, every qualified Liberian who is prepared to contribute to the national discourse to the improvement of the country. And that is the mission of Centrism. Thank you.
Thank you. So, having listened across the table, we hear one word that is inclusion, and each of them talk on a certain group of people That is, one person spoke of the youth, the other person spoke of marginalized community, and other people spoke of just party divide and all of those things. So if we come to bring it towards nation building, how critical is inclusion or inclusivity to nation building and destroying the divisive politics that divide us? How critical is inclusivity to these things?
If I may snowball the discussion on this point, I think when the chair reached out to me to share my thoughts on this topic, I kind of smiled a bit because I said the tuition lies right before us. What do I mean by that? How do we create an inclusive and prosperous society? For well over 170 years, part of the challenge we face in this country is because of one missing element, and that is what I believe this forum has been able to project, which is centrism. And in my view, centrism is not necessarily trying to stay in the middle and not forming a side of either political party. That I am neither this or neither that, or trying to stay in the middle for the purpose of convenience. Now, there are a number of fundamental pillars that we need to be able to look at when we talk about centrism. Why I believe that it is the solution, it is the missing link that we've been looking for well over 170 years. It is the ability for all of us as citizens, as individuals, irrespective of wherever we find ourselves, to be able to make objective, independent decisions, and above all, putting country first. So even if I belong to Party A, and there is a decision that undermines the supreme interest of the nation, I should have the moral gut to say no. Even if I belong to Party A, and Party A is the one in government. So I think the inclusiveness we are talking about, the prosperity we are talking about, is how do we muster the courage to be able to make decisions and to be able to sometimes, whether we find ourselves in the ruling establishment, to be able to say no when decisions are made that we don't believe is in the best interest of our country. We've created a society where, as the Cllr Kanio said, it's a winner takes all. We cannot build a prosperous and inclusive society when we adopt a winner takes all posture, right? And we cannot build a prosperous and inclusive society when we say it is black, when it is glaringly white. When we say it is yellow, when even because we are not seated at the table, but because we see a political party or a ruling establishment doing positive things, we will sort of speak ill against it or disagree, only simply because we find ourselves at the opposing side. Or the reversal. Even when we are within the political party, who is the ruling establishment or the ruling party? Centrism is, if my party, who is the ruling government, is doing something wrong or is engaged in acts of corruption, I should be able to say it. For me, I think that is what centrism is all about. Is to be able to put country first. And I think I like to, again, align it because I work a lot more on policy issues and with the legislature on many of our contract issues around either natural resource governance or budget and so forth. There has been many occasions where I will sit and I will listen to the radio and, for example, there's a debate on a particular concession agreement. And it is clearly that simply because I belong to this political party, I will castigate if the concession agreement is good. Or I will praise him if the concession agreement is bad. I think we need to get to a point where we become objective. And our objectivity should be at the supreme interest of putting Nigeria first. Anything that projects Nigeria, anything that makes Nigeria better, anything that makes us to move from this current state of poverty to to a better state. I just can't find out how come a country as rich as this will be as poorly managed as this. And that is simply because we always take side and we always, because it is not me. We have not always put the issue about centrism as a fundamental political ethos, as a reasoning for making our decisions. And our decisions are always skewed on the basis of where we find ourselves, on the basis of our ethnic stance, on the basis of our religious positions. I think it's about time where our decisions as individuals, particularly within the political leadership space, it should be on the basis of nation first and Liberia first, and making sure that ultimately every decision that we take should be making Liberia the winner and not looking at personalized individuals, what benefits me or what benefits my party, but what benefits Liberia ultimately. So for me, talking about inclusion and inclusive prosperity, this is what we need to look for. Decisions that put Liberia first and not on the basis of our personal benefits. Thank you.
So as I was preparing for this panel discussion today, one thing really struck my mind, and that is destructive politics begins with division, and nation building begins with mindset. Most times, because we belong to a particular political party, it's easy, even if the ruling establishment is doing well, we tend to just, as Mr. Hera Ado has said, we tend to just talk negatively about it. Liberia is all that we have. One denominator we have is Liberia. And whether you are from the ruling establishment or you are from an opposition or wherever you are, like I said in the beginning, Liberia is all we have. So we need to stop destructive politics and change our mindset as it relates to nation building. Young people must choose unity, must choose respect, must choose national interest over political chaos. I see, especially on social media, we fight each other for nothing. We fight each other because we belong to a different ruling establishment. I see people go at loggerhead with other people because this person is maybe saying something against the leader of another political party. As a nation, for us to be able to push forward and to strive and be prosperous, we need to have a mindset that builds our nation. Another thing I want to talk about is how we build ourselves to build Liberia. Most of the times as young people, we don't, once we start doing the hours in political parties, we feel like, okay, once our party wins, we will have the opportunity to sit in political positions. And most times, some of us, we are not even qualified to sit in those positions. We don't pay attention to building ourselves up, but we pay attention to just causing political noise. Because we feel that when our party wins, or we will have an opportunity to sit somewhere. To be able to build our nation, we should be able to build ourselves. We should be able to invest in education, in skills, in discipline, and in personal growth. A prosperous society comes from competent, ethical citizens and not political noise. So I just want to encourage all of us that have come here today as young people to be able to build ourselves. When you have education, you are able to contribute to nation building. If you don't have anything, it's easier for you to be swayed away because you don't have anything to contribute to the nation. It's easier to insult people all around the place because you feel to be able to insult somebody on behalf of somebody, you are building loyalty. And if that person has position, somebody will be able to hold you there. So I just want to encourage all of us, build yourself, build your skill, build your discipline, because at the end of the day, that's how you get to contribute to the nation.
I feel the urge to address that question, beginning with some questions.
How can we unite the country holistically if we think the vision should be among us? How can we hold our leaders accountable if we divide them? How can we look at integrity? How can we be objective? How can we respect the rule of law if there is divisiveness? You come from this party and you will hear that often because that's the issue, right? And your guy or your person did not win or your party did not win. And you say to yourself, I will do everything in my power to bring this administration down. 365 days or 366 days respectively. Every day of my life because I wanted this so bad and I did not get it. So you see things that are good, you go against it. You see the administration going forward or trying, and you cannot be objective. This is what Centrism is about. All we say here, be patriotic. Accept your defeat. Let's move forward. This country is all we have. We have to get our hands on board. So we cannot have space for, division or any sort. We have to move from that whole pit of the way how we've been taking things. And I'm so pleased with this kind of discussion. Because once we start to have these kinds of discussion, I think we've headed somewhere. It's almost like a problem somewhere, but then no one is speaking against it. And then there are people by and large, I think it's okay. So this is the whole norm. We have to fight each other. All the while, you want the other side, we want the other side. We always have to be at knuckleheads. I have to bring it down. I have to insult you. We have to disgrace ourselves on social media and everywhere. So there cannot be a space for divisiveness. No. Thank you.
And so, we have built a political culture where when you support the government constructively, you are considered as penetrating. Bulldog. Baku, you want to strong. When you support the government constructively, you are bulldog. And also the opposition as well, when the government itself, the ruling establishment, sometimes see the opposition as enemy. Which will bring them, because these are difficult tasks. This movement is a difficult task to break away from the old order. And most times I sit and listen to the radio and I see the barrage of insults to Kanio. It tells me this is a difficult task. Because people are used to political loyalty. Loyal to the struggle, loyal to the party, loyal to the party remains supreme. If we continue to do that, we undermine development. We undermine building an inclusive society. Like I said, there are brilliant young people within political parties. Are we now prepared to say we will not remove them from government because they belong to a political party? Are we now to retain them? God has something to offer to the country. Can we think that way? And that's what this movement is about. Disagree with the individual founders, but to disagree with this unique and brilliant idea, then it means that you don't put Liberia first. And I said about people, and I said, it's difficult. It's actually difficult. When I sit and have some introspection and say, are we prepared for this? Are young people prepared to not give political loyalty to one political party? There was a period before you had political party. Are we prepared to see Liberia as a country? That we should move forward. Let's see Liberia as this political party. that we are all are prepared to move forward. And we are not just, so fixated to our political orientation and one we support one party, and whether the party goes wrong or not, we remain there. And when someone comes up and gives a constructive criticism of the government, sometimes we are ignored. And when someone also comes out and applaud the government for the good work, we're angry. And we say that person has betrayed the struggle. We should now start to see politics from a different perspective. Let us see Liberia as this political party, where the winners should not just take all. People who are qualified, that Liberians who are brilliant, we have engineers who are in different political organizations. We have lawyers who are in different political structure. Are we prepared to sideline them because they are from different political structure? Also, are we also prepared to just criticize and see everything the government does as being wrong only because we are prepared to support a political ideology? No. So this is a very typical movement. Typical ideology is difficult because you want to break away from the long upstanding cultural political practice. You are breaking away from that culture. And to do that, you should get prepared. Your friends will say you betray the struggle. Your friends will say you are sellout. Your friends will say you are bootlegger. But believe me one thing, that you see Liberia as this common denominator that we must all move forward and be prepared to be with this country. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, when it comes to discussions on promoting Liberia and putting Liberia first, the conversation gets interesting, and at some point in time we don't want it to end, but finally we have to. So at about this time I will ask one more question across, and then while answering the question you can give your parting statement also, and so we bring this to finality. When Councillor Gbala reached out to me about the Centrism movement, there was one thing he said, that we all have a responsibility to ensuring that this country gets to where we want to see it. And just by setting and crafting the idea of the political centrism movement, it shifts the responsibility of inclusivity, not just to the government, but also to the citizen across the board. What are some of our responsibilities when it comes to inclusion in government as citizens?
So I should kick off. One of the major things we can do as citizens of Liberia is to use our voices responsibly. And I'm going to talk about social media a lot, because I remember a month ago I was in Abuja at this international anti-corruption forum, and one of the heads of the anti-corruption agencies in West Africa, we're having a conversation, and then he said to me, "Your politics in Liberia is very brutal." I'm like, "Why do you say that?" He says, "Come on, social media is bloody. I mean, there's a group of people that, they are just there hailing the government, even if they are wrong. And there's another group of people who, even if the government is right, they don't see anything right in it because they are in the opposition. They go to the extent of even insulting people and even lying on people because they just want to make that person look bad because they are in the opposition or they are in the government." So I want to use this time to say to us that we need to use our voices responsibly. It's really, really key as we build our nation and as we somebody talk about patriotism. Ghanaians, there's one thing that I've learned from them. They don't need to know you or your father's house or your mother's house. They just want to know that you are from Ghana. And once you are from Ghana, once you need that opportunity, they will provide that opportunity for you. That's patriotism. Liberia, We love other people outside more than ourselves. You just have to be a foreigner. We'll take you over somebody who's a Liberian. And as we have these kind of conversations about building our nation, about patriotism and all that, I want us to leave this place with the mindset that we can be the change that we see. We can advocate for what we want to see in our country. We can be able to start to take the right steps with things that we see and we want to achieve in our country. I like the fact that you took the part about inclusiveness from the government, but brought it back to us as citizens. There are so much we can do as citizens. And I want to just urge all of us that are here today that have decided to come and be a part of this movement. Doesn't mean that because you are part of this movement, it means that you have to belong to the government. You can belong to different political parties. But no matter what political party you belong to, always put Liberia first. If things are going well, let's clap for the change. Let's encourage the change. If things are going wrong, no matter who is in the wrong, whether the person is your uncle, your auntie, or whoever, be able to say the change. Let me close by saying, I'm from the anti-corruption background. It's funny to see how Liberians want to see the government of Liberia fight corruption. But it becomes very difficult and crazy when it's our uncles or our aunties or the people who pay our school fees and all that. Then we're like, oh no, y'all wish one thing. Y'all wish one thing, that's selective fire. Once it comes to our doorsteps, once it comes to our houses, then no, the government is wish one thing. But when it's somebody else, especially in a political party that you do not support, then yes. So I just want to close by saying, no matter who it is, no matter what it is, no matter what religion, what political party you are in, we say truth when we should say the truth. We say no when we should say no. Thank you.
So, on my part, I would say it's about time we move away from ideological rigidity and adapt a centrism approach in our lives, in our daily lives, in our approach, in our workplaces, in whatever we do. And that would mean, because there are fundamental principles that governs centrism. That includes transparency. And I'm glad that my sister talked about the fact that she's from anti-corruption. How do we build strong, transparent, and accountable institutions? And that goes to say that charity begins at home. So even those of us that are part of the centrism movement, how do we begin to not just profess these principles, but how do we inculcate and let these principles be our fundamental guidelines? How do we create a strong and powerful movement that is built on transparent and accountable governance? So that means that in our day-to-day lives, how do we lead by examples? How do we make sure that whatever our decisions are, ultimately we put Liberia first? If my decision is something that will sort of hurt Liberia in the future, it means that I should be saying that decision. So what I am trying to say, because I'm trying to see how I can project a picture, given that we have a lot of young people within our midst. How do we make sure that wherever we find ourselves, that whole core principle about centrism is about doing the right thing. It's about making sure that whatever we do will benefit Liberia. Whether we find ourselves in schools, at workplaces, at religious places, in our political theaters, even at the highest level of governance, how do we make sure that every decision that we take is based on the supreme interest of Liberia? And I would like to leave this with the centrism movement, the executive and the leadership. How can we create wealth for the centrism movement? Because I don't want to envision that this movement is something that we are creating, something that just will be for a few years. How can we make sure that if I am a centrist, right, and I see my sister has the competency, and I'm in a place that I need her expertise, it will not be because she's from Unity Party or she's from CDC or she's from the other party, but simply because she has the ability to deliver, I will make sure she gets that job. And once we have more and more of people, once we create opportunities for people of diverse political background, irrespective of they being part of us, if there is a contract for doing whatever, and I can make sure that this person can do it, it shouldn't be because he's not, or he or she is not part of my party. So I'll make sure I'll black him or her. I think for many, many years we've had that kind of approach. So we only create opportunities for people who are in our party, people who are of our kind. And even when the person can do it, for as long as they're our kind, and our kind means maybe he or she is part of our party, he or she is part of our clan, he or she is part of our group. And so as long as we adopt that kind of approach, we'll never make for it. I keep saying, when can we start growing our own millionaires in this country? We are poor because we are always pulling each other down. And so because we are poor, if this woman is rich and I help her to go up, through her wealth, she can also replicate that wealth and more people will get rich. But because we are always pulling each other down, we all become poor. I don't think we need to create a society where too many of us are just poor. I believe that we should get to a point where, as a country, we intentionally create work for our people. And for us to be able to intentionally create work for our people, it means that we need to create opportunity, and that opportunity should not be on the basis of people who are only of our kind. And that is why I subscribe to this centrism ideology. That with centrism, we can uplift this nation. With centrism, we can change the status quo. So, this should not be a mantra. This should be a way of life. And I would like to close on this note. Let us practice what we are preaching, so that tomorrow we can make Liberia a prosperous and inclusive society. Thank you.
I will address your question and then transition to my party comments, and I implore you to follow closely. My highlight from my first colleague was use your voice responsibly. My highlight from my second colleague was do away with the crab mentality. Because we're talking about how can we as citizens hold ourselves accountable. And then while the question was shown over the floor, I tend to jot down my points so that I will not miss it, because I feel it's very important. Following up those 2 points I have here, we need to respect the rule of law. That's how we are held accountable as well. We need to respect the rule of law. We need to start being destructive. We see sometimes we take the iron on a roll and go sell it. Not true? So how are we helping ourselves? And then we tend to castigate government. And we feel we are justified because the government is not doing well, when we ourselves have not done well as well. Another way is we can be objective. That's a principle of being a centrism or centrist. Sorry, we have to be objective. We have to work towards integrity. And it starts with us in a home being given market money, and we call the market money short. When you are put in a crucial position, you're going to do the same thing. So it starts now. There's something we call etiquette. It's being on the internet and exercising
etiquette. Social media is part of our lives. Once you exhibit or practice etiquette, we will not have to be going back and forth or at loggerheads the way how we are on social media. So we need to practice that. And one thing is respect each other as well on social media. Okay? Let's change the norms. Let's change the norms. Let's change what we used to. Let's change what has been happening. Let's see how being a centrist is different. It's being patriotic. It's being my country is first. I'm balanced. I come from this party, this person comes from this other party, another person is not part of any political party, but we all have one thing in common. It is our country. You know, we still struggle with the weight of polarization. That is our main problem in this political arena. We are still struggling with the weight of polarization. Until we can address that, that's why we all need to embrace this centrism. Let us live in a society void of politics. Thank you.
You see, the citizen has a greater responsibility in this process. We cannot have a country where the citizens themselves are booing the bringing of buses. No, we cannot have a country. Because you're from the political party and the people are bringing buses, you are booing. Your role should be to ensure that government increase buses so that it reaches at every level of the country. So people who cannot afford transportation can benefit from them. That should be the role of a responsible citizen. We cannot also have a country where a citizen are also criticizing the construction of roads. Of course not. That should not be the argument. The argument should be the quality of road that government is building. We should not just criticize the road because it helps to develop the country. As a responsible citizen, our role should be to ensure that those roads by government are roads with quality. As a responsible let us become to hold our leader very accountable. It's not just the process of, you so fixed to these political ideas. And when your party give an instruction, you say, well, the party remains supreme. No, the direction remains supreme. And not just political party. Not just a political party. You must all pray sides to build a fresh democracy. You must pray sides. But let's do it constructively. Let's engage the government in a constructive way. Let us not just criticize roads, but let's criticize bad roads. Let us not just. Can you imagine some people are praying to have power outage? Who does that in the country? Who does that in the country? But people are praying that you must have power outage. There should be no LLC in certain quarters. And when you believe that if that happens, you score political blood. No, the country suffers. Liberia suffers. If you pray that one government must fail because it puts you at a political advantage, you must achieve your political idea, but at the end of the day, Liberia suffers. If you are praying that one government do not get money to build roads, and you may accrue the political dividend. What happens? The bigger picture is that rocky road. This terrain is an unfamiliar terrain. You have been back on. It's tough. Your friends will ostracize you. They will call you need. They will say you betray the struggle. They will say you are government, you are sellout. You put liquor and all of that. But remain to your ideas. Because one thing that guides your thought is that Liberia first and Liberia last. And if we continue to focus on the bigger picture of the country and seize Liberia as the big political party in Liberia remains supreme, this country will develop. Thank you.
Void of destructive politics. And that is why I like that we have a diverse group of people in this room. We are from the left, from the right, from neutrality, and from all other sides. So as we leave here today and draw the curtain on this beautiful section, let's leave with one singular word: Liberia. It's only Liberia. Not a party, not the individual, but Liberia. I'd like to thank our distinguished panelists for an informative conversation that have been had around the subject matter concerning building an inclusive society void of destructive politics. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed the curtain.
With this being said, we will call on Mr. S. Aaron William, the third Deputy Chair for Governance, Executive Steering Committee, Centrism Movement. Put your hands together for him.
My name is S.
just, we are the third. I am the deputy chair for governance and strategic planning. Mine is just a simple task. I know you are tired, you are exhausted, so we've come to the end. But I want you to please stand. I want you to please stand. Today this may seem very simple. You may go along what you're doing here. But I would like to remind you that one American anthropologist by the name of Margaret Mead once said, never doubt that a group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It is the only thing that ever has. We started small today, the task ahead is great, but I know together we can do it. So I'm going to do a simple round call. When I say centrist, I want you to say, we stand. When I say dreamers, you say we build. When I say movers, you say we rise. Can we try that? Remember that? Centrist, we stand. Dreamers, we build. Movers, we rise. Let's do that again. Centrist, we stand. Dreamers, we build. Movers, we rise. This is our time. You say this is our movement. This is our time. This is our movement. I say this is our movement. You say yes, we can. This is our time. This is our movement. This is our movement. Yes, we can. This is our time. This is our movement. This is our movement. Yes, we can. Thank you very kindly. Thank you.
Mr. David Flobo, Director for Mobilization Centrism Movement, who will do our vote of thanks. Mr. David Flobo will do our vote of thanks. He is the Director for Mobilization Centrism Movement.
Thank you. Amanda! 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 Centrism! Centrism! All right, let me say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us on this very important launch program. As we all are aware, that the Centrism movement is here to stay. I'm here to encourage you. Go and carry the message. We want this movement to reach every nook and corner of this country. So please, we are here to stay, and we have come to encourage you for us to stay together and make this happen. Not to call you much because we are tired. I want to say again, thank you for coming, and thank you ever so much.
You will please stand. You will please stand.
So please stand, please stand. Stand, please. Let's know that we need a much of God. We're about to close. This is one of the most important part of the program.
start with prayer, and we're going to end with prayer. The Bible says Jesus will start with prayer and he ends with prayer. Whether you're Muslim, you're here also, please respect. But our beginning today, we started, there's no accident, no one here, we walk through the traffic, God kept us safe. We go back to our various homes. So we're coming to God for Thanksgiving. So Lord, we want to say thank you for today. We say thank you for strength. We say thank you for giving another opportunity to come out here. As we go back to our various homes, we say, Lord, protect us in Jesus' name. Amen.